Hello there. Good day to my fellow interneters. Well, the journey on this '02, '03, I forget which it is, Tacoma has finally come to an end. Just a quick update for you folks. The reason the hood's propped open is and I'll show you that in a minute. I didn't do a before video, but I did do just what I call a quick clean on the engine bay, not a full detail because it was so nasty, probably never been cleaned. And the reason the hood's propped up with that wire running in there, it's just something I learned a long time ago. Don't ask me how. That when you're doing one of these vehicles, particularly when you have to spend a long time on the interior, like I did this vehicle, I've got a battery charger that stays hooked up to the battery. Like I said, lesson learned. As you recall, we did a full strip wash on this thing. We clay barred it. We deconned the paint with Iron X. And I did end up using the synthetic clay bar, clay mitt, whatever you want to call it, on this vehicle, which seemed to work relatively well. Then we both compounded it and did some light wet sanding in certain spots to try to get rid of some of the deeper scratches. We minimized, I think, all of those. Some of them we were able to remove completely. Some we were just able to reduce where they're hardly noticeable from a foot or two back. Now, if you get up real close, you can still see them, but they were too deep. You remember we redid the fender flares, redid that piece along the bottom there. We restored the headlights. I don't know if you remember, they were almost opaque. Ceramic coated those. After the solution finish cured on these parts, the fender flares, so forth and so on, ceramic coated those. And then at the very end, I topped it off with what we call an SiO2 sealant. The ceramic coating and the sealant was from DPC, which is short for Dallas Paint Correction. He should, if he maintains it properly, get about 2 to 4 years of protection out of this stuff on all of this vehicles, because everything has been protected. Everything, the chrome, the plastic, everything. Remember, we did those mirrors. That turned out pretty fair. I think that looks good because they were turning white. Did the door handles, everything, the trim around the windows, all that stuff was done. The vent cowl, all of it. Wheels and tires. This is the best wheel out of the bunch. I think it may be a newer wheel. It still has a good depth of clear coat on it. But the rest of these did not turn out as well because they seem to be older wheels and somebody used too strong of a wheel cleaner and it resulted in some staining, which I was not able to remove. It probably could be if you took the wheels off the vehicle, but we're not doing that this go around. Did the mud flaps, all that stuff. You remember there was a scratch in here somewhere that was really noticeable. Y'all remember that video where we took that out with wet sand compound? Rear end turned out real nice. You can see the bumper cap, it turned out, or the step bumper cap, whatever you want to call that. It turned out real good. Looks great. Did the tail lights also. Everything looking good. Did all the glass. Polished it all down with a dedicated glass polish and some glass polishing pads on a little 3-inch dual action buffer. Took all that off, cleaned it up with the isopropyl alcohol mist, IPA we call it, mix, and then went back and put a dedicated glass sealant on there. I don't remember which brand I use because I used it all up. You see these, this is more of an interior thing, but cleaned up all these floor mats which he had over his carpeted mats, and finished up by putting a protectant on there called VRP, which stands for vinyl rubber plastic. Good stuff. Did all the rubber gaskets and stuff on the doors with that as well after I cleaned them up. As you can see, the shine, the depth and gloss on this thing is really good for a truck this old that the paint was scratched as bad as this one is. As I say again, the wheels and tires came out really, really nice. If y'all have any questions about how I did certain things, why I did certain things, what I used, I mean, for example, what buffer I used, what kind of buffer, what pads, that sort of thing, feel free to send me a message and ask me. I'll be glad to answer any questions. Restored this, although it wasn't too shabby. It's been ceramic coated and protected with the SiO2. The hood came out really nice considering how bad it was hammered. If you look real close, you can still see some of where the contaminants have embedded into the clear coat. But this truck is so old and been run through so many car washes, really wasn't enough clear coat left to go any deeper into it than I did. Because every time you buff a car, you're taking some of the clear coat off. So you want to preserve as much clear coat as possible. There's a spot on the roof here. I don't know if I might have to climb over the stool and show y'all where the clear coat is failing. If I can find it here, it's right here. I don't know if y'all can see that, but that's where the clear coat has failed. Now, what I'm going to suggest to Gary, the owner, is that we get perhaps some clear coat restorer and redo that spot with that, and hopefully stave off any further damage, because that damage will spread. That rear window came out nice. Okay, folks, I'm going to end this video, and I'll do a separate one on the interior. I'll cut this off and I'll start on those mats, floor mats, which were old really bad. If y'all enjoyed this, find it mildly entertaining and somewhat educational, and you kind of sort of enjoy this and you want to keep up with future projects, which I've got several coming in, which are going to be older vehicles similar to this, which are hammered, and it's going to take some finessing. Hit that subscribe button so you'll be notified when they come up. Catch y'all later. Bye.